now.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Colin Zhu, and thank you so much for being here with us on the Thrive Bites podcast. This is season 4, and we're so excited for you to be here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Colin Zhu, double boarded in family and lifestyle medicine, and I interview the best and most passionate health and wellness experts of the industry on this platform. And we talk about plant-powered living, emotional resilience, and creating a thriving mindset. And this season, we're taking it live, we're taking it on multiple platforms, and we're taking it as a Q&A discussion as well as our interviewing of our guests. So we're super stoked about this, and please remember to like and subscribe down below, and we will see you. Welcome to the next episode.
All right, guys. Welcome to the Thrive Bites podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Colin Zhu, and thank you so much for being here with us today. This is episode 6. We're going to have a fabulous discussion about Whole Foods Plant-Based 101, and I am joined in a roundtable discussion with Plant-Based Telehealth team. I am gathering all their intros. It's going to take me a little bit of time, but I am super stoked for them to be here. So first off, we have Dr. Niki Davis. She is a rocket scientist turned physician. She's board certified in family and lifestyle. And at the age of 13, she started removing animal products from her diet because she didn't feel it was healthy. And once she was in college, she obtained her bachelor and master's degrees in mechanical engineering and has actually worked on the space shuttle program for several years and currently appears regularly as a guest on Chef AJ's YouTube channel and on the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine podcast. Dr. Elisabeth Fontaine, double boarded in OBGYN and lifestyle medicine, is a fellow of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and she also has backgrounds in obesity management and exercise physiology. And she's also the CEO of Let's Lead, a nurse executive physician dyad coaching emerging leaders and practitioners to their career and life best grounded in well-being. Dr. Michael Klaper, which I don't believe needs any introduction, but for those who do not know, he is a gifted clinician, internationally recognized teacher, and sought-after speaker on diet and health. He's the author of Vegan Nutrition, Pure and Simple, and has appeared on various and several health videos, webinars, and articles for scientific journals and popular press. And he's also contributed to the makings of 2 PBS television programs, Food for Thought, and award-winning movie Diet for a New America. So we're happy to have him here. Dr. Christina Miller, she is a double board-certified emergency and integrative medicine physician. And due to her own health concerns and overwhelming amount of chronic disease she saw every day, she radically changed her own practice to lifestyle medicine and health promotion. In 2013, she's opened her own lifestyle medicine practice and founded Eat and Live Healthfully website and blog. So happy to have her. Dr. Laurie Marbas, she is a double board certified family and lifestyle medicine physician, and she's been utilizing food as medicine since 2012. And she's been a managing editor for Plantation Projects, International Journal of Disease Reversal and Prevention, and also is a co-founder of Healthy Human Revolution. And she's also a United States Air Force veteran, and we appreciate her years of service. She served in the Middle East and South America, and also is a co-founder of Plant-Based Telehealth. Dr. Jeffrey Pierce is a board-certified family physician, and he's super passionate about whole food plant-based diet and other lifestyle medicine modalities to help his people get healthier, get off of medications, and live longer. And in addition to all that, he helps support a healthy pregnancy, has worked with teaching residents and caring for patients in outpatient clinics, hospital wards, and emergency rooms in Northern California, and extensively around the globe, including El Salvador, Honduras, Peru, the Philippines, South Sudan, and Kenya, just to name a few. And Dr. Kim Scheuer, she's actually began her career as a traditional family doc. And despite eating healthier than most Americans and thinking she was fit, she actually struggled with weight issues since the age of 47. Currently, she's board certified in family and lifestyle medicine. And one of her favorite parts of this is practicing medicine to de-prescribe medication and help her patients become younger every year by adopting a healthier lifestyle choice. And she's definitely transitioned from traditional medical group that she ran previously for 20 years in Aspen, Colorado, to her now lifestyle medicine practice called DOKS, or Docs Lifestyle Medicine. And last but not least, Anthony Masiello. He's been working in healthcare for more than 25 years. His career started doing bioinformatics on the Human Genome Project. And after 6 years into the pharmaceutical research, he was able to directly contribute to the development of medical treatments and therapies. In 2020, he shifted his focus to preventing and reversal of chronic disease and launched Plant-Based Telehealth, co-founding it with Dr. Laurie Marbas, where he focuses on making lifestyle medicine rooted in whole food plant-based nutrition available to everyone. And he's personally switched to whole food plant-based in 2006, and in 20 months lost 160 pounds and got off of blood pressure medication, lowered his cholesterol, eliminated migraine headaches, and completely transformed his life. So I want to introduce everyone as I try to unmute everyone. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Happy to be here.
Wow, I am thrilled. So let me kind of switch out cameras. So Anthony, let me see. There you go.
Hey.
It's actually Anthony's birthday.
It is.
Happy
Thank
birthday, Anthony.
Happy
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Outside.
Thank you.
So we're gonna go round table. Just give me your favorite hobby as I go. So this is Anthony. Give me your favorite hobby and pastime.
Oh my gosh, I have a lot of favorite hobbies.
Your top one.
Right now, I'll say doing anything active outside, and preferably with my family, with my two sons, Evan and Henry, and with my wife, Kathy.
Okay, awesome. And you're currently in North Carolina, right?
I'm on vacation at the moment in North Carolina. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Dr. Christina Miller, we'll come back to you, Anthony. Hello, how's it going?
Hi, so fun to be here. Thanks for those great introductions.
Oh,
My
you're welcome.
favorite
You're welcome.
hobby is probably hiking right now.
Okay, nice. And what's the highest elevation you've hiked so far?
Well, I've done a couple 14,000 peaks in Colorado, and I did Mount Kenya in Kenya, which was 16,000.
Oh, nice, awesome. Definitely go higher and higher, right? So, Dr. Niki Davis, hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being on. Tell us your favorite hobby and pastime.
So Dr. Miller stole mine, but recently it's been hiking. So I've been doing a lot of hiking lately, and I think mine today was 1,400 elevation, so not nearly the 14,000, but I had a good time and it was beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Glad to have you on. Dr. Jeffrey Pierce, how's it going, my friend?
Great. Thank you very much for having us here. We're excited to be here.
Thank you. And tell me a favorite hobby. I know you do a little bit of honey collecting, right?
Yeah, we try to grow a lot of the things that we eat. So every day we're getting out in the garden, growing vegetables, growing fruit. My wife takes care of a couple of hives in our yard to help save the bees. And so it's just a pleasure to get out and get our feet in the soil and our hands dirty and bring some really healthy stuff onto our table multiple times a day.
Love it. There's not anything better than creating your own food source and having full control of that. So I love it. Dr. Kim Scheuer, how are you doing?
Doing wonderfully. And my favorite hobbies are very similar to others. Eating, hiking, and being outside with my dogs, which I can do all at the same time. So it makes me happy.
Why can't we just hike together? I don't understand this. Why?
I would love it. Come visit anytime.
I love it. And who's your friend in the background?
Oh, my little puppy dog. That's Charlie. He's doing great. He comes with me everywhere I go.
Nice. Consults. I love it. You have a reliable consult.
Yeah.
Dr. Laurie Marbas, hello.
Yes.
How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having us on. We're excited to be here.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
my favorite
thank you so
pastime.
much.
Hiking, running, and well, I live in Colorado, so you just gotta love hiking and running here. And then I like to paint and draw, and spend time with my family as much as possible as well.
Nice. Like stenciling or colored pencil? Like when you say draw, what do you use?
I use pencil, and then I do like black ink over, and then I do watercoloring. So that's kind of urban sketching. I'm getting into botanical drawing and stuff like that, which is really fun.
Nice. I love it. A lot of lighting, coloring, shading. That's all good stuff. I love drawing. I grew up on that, so I definitely resonate.
Awesome.
Dr. Elisabeth Fontaine, how's it going? Hey.
Good. So nice to have us all here. I've learned a lot about my partner in this business. So I'm in Vermont and originally from Quebec, so it's so easy with the accent. However, hobby. So I do a lot of biking, and it's mainly to travel as much as I can in different countries. We've been a little bit limited within the last 2 years, but every year I choose a different country. So Europe, France, Portugal. I hike in Peru, but that year was not biking. But biking, usually it's every year, and choose a trip that we go for a couple of weeks.
Nice. Gotcha. Nice. Biking is always fun. So do you do mountain or road biking?
I do road biking and gravel. I started gravel biking last year due to the fact that we couldn't travel. And so my husband, who's an avid biker, started gravel, and I purchased a gravel bike, and it's actually fun. Do a lot of searching and discovering in Vermont in the summer, and in the winter I'm a skier. So.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Dr. Michael Klaper, how you doing? Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to Dr. K in a little bit. All right. So, how I wanted to orient this roundtable discussion was we pretty much compiled, a list and most common topics that one would get, whether you are a healthcare provider or you are a person that's transitioning to more vegetarian, more vegan, or more whole foods plant-based fare. I'm sure you've come across your own fair share of questions and looking for credible sources. So that's why I decided to gather this team because I can't think of, any more any better equipped in terms of competency, knowledge base, and experience. And these guys are just a great nice, kind, very compassionate group of individuals, and I am so thrilled to have them here for today. So we'll start off the conversation about plant-based telehealth, the origin story of that. So I will turn the camera to Anthony to kind of kick us off, and then I'll because Anthony and Dr. Laurie Marbas are the co-founders, and I'll have them speak about it. So we'll turn it over to Dr. We'll turn over Anthony first. So
yeah, I'm the only non-doctor. I'm sorry about that. But I have a fantastic role here, and my role with plant-based telehealth is doing anything and everything possible to help more people have access to doctors like all of yourselves. So I'm really humbled in that position, and I really enjoy it, as I would guess that you guys can tell, and I think it's fantastic. So Dr. Marbas and I started plant-based telehealth with one mission. We wanted to make lifestyle medicine available to everyone. And the idea kind of built up over time for why and how we shaped plant-based telehealth into what it is today. But the real problem that we were trying to solve is we would be at conferences and we would hear physicians, researchers, scientists presenting about the life-changing benefits of whole food plant-based nutrition and lifestyle medicine. And inevitably, the presenter would show some case studies at the end of their presentations. And people in the audience would get really excited. and they would say, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. And then someone in the audience stops and they, during the Q&A, and they raise their hand and they say, I'm dealing with such and such, whatever their medical condition was. I see that you've had success, or that these other case studies that you shared have had success with lifestyle changes, and I want to do that for myself. Where can I find a doctor who can help me to transition to this lifestyle and get well? And unfortunately, for the longest time, the answer was it was either incredibly complicated or it was like crickets. There was no answer. And it was because the practicing lifestyle medicine doctors were scattered about. And sometimes they were more of the kind of like what I call, almost like celebrity doctors that were, hard to access or expensive and stuff like that. So our mission at Plant-Based Telehealth is making lifestyle medicine accessible to everyone. So there were a lot of challenges that were in the way, including geographic and financial and these other things. So it just seemed really ripe for the application of telehealth, where a single physician could be licensed in multiple states and reach a large enough audience to really grow up a really strong lifestyle medicine practice. And that's what we started doing. And I'll let Laurie tell a little bit more of that, but she kind of said, "You're crazy. How are we supposed to do that?" But we just discussed it more, and we just came together, and both of us rolled up our sleeves and really did everything that was necessary to put everything in place and to really get this thing off the ground. And I personally could not be more thrilled with how it's going so far. It's 18 months into seeing patients on the platform. As you guys know, doctors are available to patients in all 50 states. And I hope that some of you will mention, especially some of the remote areas that your patients are coming from, to really show that we're really playing true on that mission of really making this available to people, no matter where you are in the country or even around the world. I would love to hear a little bit about some of the international consultations that you guys have been doing as well. We also know that we have a ways to go. We have to continue raising awareness so people know about it, because it's not accessible to people if they don't know that it exists. So that's turning into a challenge as well. And then we want to continue making it more and more affordable. Right now we're a cash pay service, and we know that people are already paying a lot of money for their health insurance, and we feel really, we feel strongly that we would like to be able to accept that on this platform as well. But it's another big challenge that we really have to put some resources behind to try to work that out as well.
Right. Dr. Laurie, I want to hand it over to you.
Yeah, sure. So Anthony and I have been friends a long time and started a few things together. And I had been doing telemedicine for a few years prior to the start of the idea, I guess the nidus of plant-based telehealth, and had great success doing lifestyle medicine in a national platform. It's usually, patients would call in for acute care, but you couldn't help except notice that, hey, you have diabetes. Have you ever heard of plants? And you start seeing some really good success, and patients start coming back, and people at, this particular telemedicine company are like, what are you doing to get A1Cs to drop 5 points in 3 months? I'm like, they're eating plants? They're like, no, really, what are you doing? I'm like, they're telling them to eat plants. And so telling Anthony that, and then Anthony's like, we really need to start our own, and this could be great. And I said, this is insane. There's a lot of red tape. Just, thinking from the physician standpoint of things, one, recruitment, which obviously we have recruited quite a few amazing docs, licensing, the red tape, there's Medicare, Medicaid, insurance. It's a bit overwhelming. Yeah, but luckily we were somewhat naive. We had enough knowledge to get started, but somewhat naive of the challenges that lay ahead, because by the time we get to the next challenge, you're like, oh, well, we're already this far. Let's just keep going. So that's kind of what happened. And we launched in March of last year, right when COVID hit, which was a blessing in disguise, since, the perception of telemedicine and the difficulty, or was it worth, doing, that was dropped dramatically. So we had patients looking for it. We had doctors looking for it. And it was me in the beginning with, I think, 13 or 16 licenses. And I'm licensed in all 50 states and DC. Just not that I wanted to have to see patients everywhere, but I just really felt like I needed to lay the the groundwork. But then all of these amazing other docs, like you see here, are also licensed in multiple states. But I've had patients in the interior of Alaska, South Dakota, Wisconsin, patients saying there is no one available. I can't even see a regular doctor without driving hours. So that was really heartening to say, all the hard work it's worth it. And so, and that's kind of how it started. And we're really developing an amazing team, a network of incredible physicians who take care of amazing patients. And we are really building a knowledge base and experience base that I think will be, you can't challenge that anywhere else. I think to say that there's a group of physicians who see patients nationally and internationally and practice lifestyle medicine, we are it. And so, if you really want to see some amazing experts, this is the place to come.
Yeah, definitely. And not only that, it's, I think, lifestyle medicine, we'll get more in depth with it. It's really a specialty / profession where it places a lot of ownership and accountability on the practitioner, and it's very challenging, to really dispense this kind of information without practicing it yourself. And as you can see, and here, all the different hobbies and pastimes, and I'm sure there's probably a lot more with all these wonderful individuals, that, it's a long list. And, we're very passionate about what we do and everyone else. And it's simply just conveying that across the screen. And I think we're doing a good job of it. Anthony, I'm going to turn the question over to you. How easy or difficult it is currently to use the platform on Plant-Based Telehealth right now?
Sorry about that. It really, unfortunately, it really depends on the patient at this point in time, and some familiarity with, using the computer and working on the internet and emailing and messaging. The more of that a patient has, the better. We really are trying to make the systems as intuitive as possible. And we're working with our, platform provider to try to streamline some of those things. But in general, I'll say it works well. It certainly works well enough at this stage. But I do field questions where people are not sure, how to set up their patient portal or how they're going to connect to their appointment. We have a few select patients that prefer to do their appointments by telephone. Obviously, it's not ideal because there's something, the nonverbals that come through with the video enabled as possible. It just makes communication a little bit more effective. So I do work with patients to help them get on there. But in general, it's not bad.
Okay. Laurie, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would say, we've been really fortunate to use the Zoom technology with the newer platform that we have, so that most people are pretty familiar with this, especially after COVID. Yet again, another blessing to the plant-based telehealth. And so if you know how to use Zoom, you can use this platform. We have a secure patient portal where you can communicate with your doctor. There's labs. We can order prescriptions, and the integration of everything into the one platform is really nice. Having other larger telemedicine companies had to build, kind of prioritize their own software, which can lead to a lot of hiccups and difficulties and stuff. But so I think right now, I think it's going pretty well. Obviously, there's always systems and stuff we can improve upon, but overall, the patients seem to do fairly well, especially with Anthony on the phone walking. He's got quite the guru status amongst several patients. There's some groupies that love to talk to Anthony. Like, I'm just going to call Anthony, see how he's doing. I was like, Anthony's pretty busy. Let Anthony rest. But no, I seriously, I have patients who just call to say how he's doing. And so I'm like, I don't know what you're doing, but keep it up.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a testament to what we're going through is, telehealth. It's probably not the most ideal right now in terms of, because we're utilizing that in terms of a, virtual / remote type of setting, right? Because of the context of everything. And it doesn't, at least to me, doesn't really replicate, the live in-person relationship building and rapport building that you get to have, as a doctor to a patient, right? And I know personally that I miss that very much. So I think even doing things like what Anthony is doing and just having, just a longer conversation and just explore, not only detailing the intricacies of the platform, but also, just getting to know the patients and getting to know the people that are inquiring and, wanting to, know more about it. So, thank you, Anthony, for doing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And if I can just add, I think it's great the way that telemedicine is being implemented at Plant-Based Telehealth, and really going for replicating that in-person experience as much as possible. And you're absolutely right. That does extend out to the front office, right? The reception desk, and making patients feel welcome and making them feel supported through the whole way. We even try to extend that out through our social media on Facebook and Instagram, so people really have an idea of who we are and what we're all about, so that it doesn't feel so cold as turning on the video and then turning off the video as soon as the appointment ends. We really want to, which that's also replicating that in-person experience. But we just feel like it's very important for the patients to really feel part of this community.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
I think you guys might have touched upon this a little bit, but how does this compare? Either one of you can speak to it, to other telehealth platforms. Is there any pros and cons to this? Can you talk a little bit about that?
So when we evaluated, I think 43 platforms, and we demoed about 7, and then we actually did extensive, reviews of 3, and then we chose one, and then 6 months into Plant-Based Telehealth, we switched because it wasn't meeting our needs, and wasn't creating the experience that we want. So from that perspective, I mean, there's a lot out there, and I would just say it varies widely. How they use. As far as how it actually gets implemented, I would love to hear Laurie. She can share that experience, from the physician's perspective, and she knows more about how the patients feel about it than anyone.
Yeah, and I also think you need to understand that we are doing lifestyle medicine, so this is not, a lot of people, maybe docs are like teledocs or doctors on demand or some of those other larger corporations. They want to implement, from my understanding, kind of a virtual PCP, which I don't really feel comfortable with. Is one of the reasons I certainly feel like this is a better platform for us, because we consider ourselves consultants to the primary care doc, that we're really here to help patients get to their best, and we just kind of help doctors who don't have the time or expertise to do that. The other platforms are more appropriate maybe for acute care. They're very quick. You don't establish a relationship with a physician per se. And so that's the difference with our platform, is that we're establishing relationships. We're diving deep into someone's history. We have very extensive questionnaires. And so that is the difference. It's just the relationship. The technology, I think, is, can be similar. There's some good and bad on everything. But I really think for us, it's the relationship, and what our focus is the lifestyle component.
Okay, awesome. I definitely want to get to the other docs, and I definitely want to get back to you, Anthony, in terms of like long-term, mission and long-term goals. But let's get into, kind of the quote unquote meat, or plant-based meat, or beyond meat, or impossible, whatever you want to call it, substance of whole food plant-based, because there's a lot, that you could ask, and we've, compiled the most common topics. So let's start off about, just, what is whole food plant-based? What are the food items and or food groups that's included into this? Dr. Kim Scheuer, I'll give it to you.
Hey, well, as I said, one of my hobbies is loving to eat. So whole food plant-based is as whole food and plant-based as possible. It's fruits, vegetables, lots and lots of them, whole grains, quinoa, wild rices, red rices, brown rices, things like that. Legumes, so beans and lentils, yum. And then nuts and seeds. Not too much, but you need some every day, for most people. So that's what it is. What it isn't is it's not meat or eggs or cheese or any animal product, anything that had a mother or a face. It's not processed foods, like not sugars, refined grains and things like that. But it's delicious. So basically, for example, what I had this morning today. So far, I've had my oat groats with lots of berries and banana and mango and ground flax seeds and cinnamon, and it's delicious. Then for lunch, I had some leftovers from what I had yesterday. So I had a huge salad, and I had a mushroom risotto from the mushrooms I picked when I was hiking. And then for dinner, I plan to have Thai basil curry with homegrown broccoli and things like that. So people think it's cardboard and it's boring. It's not. It's delicious.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, when I counsel patients, people can't really get past the perception of, salad and or rabbit food. So, not everything, salad is great, but, there's way more to this. Dr. Klaper, let's see if we can get can you hear us?
Yes.
Yay! Welcome. I know you have had some connectivity of issues, but thank you so much for being here with us. We do have a question. Is Dr. Kim was describing what is whole food plant-based, and I'm sure a lot of audience members are wanting to know how's that different and how's that distinctive from being vegetarian and or being vegan.
I was very happy to see the term whole food plant-based enter our everyday lexicon for a couple of reasons. Vegetarian people, by and large, do not eat the flesh of animals, but they certainly imbibe cow's milk and products made from them, dairy product, cheese, yogurt, etc. And we are now understanding how much health problems can stem from dairy products for all sorts of reasons, from their protein, their fats, their hormones, etc. So if you're vegetarian, you're still consuming dairy products, far from ideal from our point of view. Then the vegan folks are those who avoid all animal products, as Dr. Scheuer said, and that put you in the category of plant foods only. However, it does not exclude the processing of these plant foods. And we've all seen this explosion of vegan snack foods, desserts, puddings, cakes, candies, all sorts of processed foods.
Whole food aisles of them.
Indeed, the Whole Foods has aisles of them, absolutely. They're vegan, but they're certainly far from what we would call healthy. And so just because an item is vegan doesn't mean it's healthy, because you could live on energy drinks and vegan donuts and be vegan, but you're not going to be healthy. So I certainly welcome the concept of whole food, plant-based, and that implies whole food. It's not been processed. These are plant-based foods, vegetables, fruits, etc., that you can identify as if they were growing in the garden. There's a tomato there, and a cucumber there, and an ear of corn there, and some barley growing there. Those are whole foods, as nature designed them for us. Food as grown is really the best selection of foods you can make, and that is they're whole foods and they're plant-based. And so that's where we focus our dietary counseling. And they have remarkable healing powers to them, unlike the refined sugars and oils, etc., though vegan are certainly not health promoting. The whole food plant-based selection, they really have these wonderful powers of helping reverse the diseases that many people find themselves combating. So, yay, that's why we are called Plant-Based Telehealth, because we know the power of whole plants, and we really employ them as part of our healing regimens that we recommend. So let's hear it for whole food plant-based.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for that, definition or constellation of definitions and making it, distinctive. One of my favorite things is, teaching people that, if it didn't come out of the ground, off of a vine or off of a tree, you probably want to minimize it. And I like to keep it as simple as possible. So thank you so much, Dr. Klaper, and we'll come back to you. Dr. Niki Davis, I'm going to turn it to you. So Dr. Klaper was talking a little bit about, and Dr. Kim, about how we're minimizing and or avoiding refined and processed. So what does that exactly mean? Can you break down what is the process behind refining something, stripping something down, organic, inorganic, because these are just basic, a lot of marketing terminology, maybe like marketing ploys, to get someone to kind of attract them in and, just glean at the front cover of like a cereal box, but whatever those, names mean, and can you help us distinguish those, please?
Absolutely. So yeah, refined. So that's interesting because refined, really what that one means is you're taking something that was in its whole form and removing parts of it. So the best way to think of it would be, for instance, with brown rice and white rice. So brown rice is going to have the capsule on the outside that's called bran. It has on the inside something called the endosperm, and then on the very inside something called the germ. When you refine the brown rice to white rice, you're getting rid of everything except for the endosperm. So you're keeping something there, but you're getting rid of some of the things that originally were in its whole form. The problem with refining is that the things you're getting rid of oftentimes have more nutrients. So in fact, when you go from brown rice to white rice, you're losing about 1/2 to 2/3 of the nutrients in the rice. Not only that, people are so worried about protein these days, which we'll get into later, but you're actually removing protein too. So, about 1/4 of the protein that's in the brown rice gets removed when you get rid of those extra parts. So it is a process of just taking something that used to be whole and removing parts of it. And so a lot of times we think of that in grains, refined grains, we hear a lot about, and you just want to try to minimize that, because really, food was meant to be eaten in its whole form. Besides when you pick a tomato off the vine, you might have a little bit of the green stem on there, right? Pull that off and there's your whole food, that tomato right there, instead of breaking it down. So you talk about processing. Now that's really taking something from its original form and turning it into something else. So you think of maybe a Twinkie, right? That used to be a lot of other things, and now it's a different form. But it's gamut. You have this continuum of what process really is. So technically, a smoothie would be processed because you're putting stuff in a blender and you're processing them. But that would be more minimally processed. And then you get to the side of, maybe you go through maybe bread. So bread would be a little bit more processed. And then you move into more of the really highly processed foods. Like you mentioned, the Impossible Burger, the Beyond Burger, super processed, right? So as you get to that other end where things are very, very processed, that's where we're losing a lot of the nutrients. We're just losing the beauty and the health of those original whole foods. So the closer you can stay on the other end of the continuum of the whole plant food, the better. And then you also mentioned organic. So organic just means that you are eliminating any chemical type fertilizers, even when you're talking about animal products, getting rid of antibiotics, things that aren't natural that they're using to try to get rid of bugs, like pesticides, things like that. So if you're looking at vegetables that are grown, you're just minimizing the unnatural chemicals put onto those vegetables by having something that's organic.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much for that. That definitely, hopefully, clears it up and clarifies, for people that are watching and listening. My favorite thing is just imagining, what whole food actually looks like, and then, when we create what I call food-like or food-related products, which is basically what most of the food industry creates nowadays. And you could see this in the middle of the supermarket where everything is on a shelf, right, and in a packaging. And like Dr. Niki Davis was, demonstrating, basically showcasing for us is that you're taking what is in Mother Nature and literally whittling it down. So, and like Dr. Klaper was mentioning, you're going to get varying levels, typically lower levels of, nutritional benefit. So, so the next question here, I'm going to kick it out to Dr. Christina Miller. because she looks so amped and ready. So a question is whole foods? Yes, definitely. I love the energy. So a question is whole food plant-based nutrition, is that complete? Because, people can probably look at that and be like, it's not, the most complete nutrition, does it have all, macronutrients and micronutrients, AKA vitamins and minerals, fats, carbs and proteins that, we need? Is it complete? Like, what would you say to that?
That's a great question. And it's one that we actually get quite a bit. Yes, it's a complete form of nutrition, but you have to pay attention to a few of the micronutrients. So like any diet plan, it has to be well constructed. So people eating all sorts of different diet plans are deficient in certain nutrients. Well, the benefits of a plant-based diet, if you eat a diverse diet of real whole plant foods, you're going to get enough protein, you're going to get enough calcium, you're going to get enough of your healthy fats, you're going to get enough carbohydrates, you're going to get enough of all these essential anti-cancer and health promoting nutrients such as phytochemicals and carotenoids. You're going to get your vitamins such as vitamin E, all your B vitamins, vitamin C, it's rich in all these nutrients. So it is extremely healthy diet. However, it has to be constructed properly. And so, like we talked about, people can be on a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet and not eating plant foods rich in protein. And so we will see certain people coming in a little bit deficient in protein. So we build diets that are made with legumes and soy products and lots of leafy green vegetables and nuts and seeds. So we get a complete source of protein. We get our calcium from our green leafy vegetables and all vegetables and fruit and beans and whole grains and nuts and seeds are all rich in calcium. We're getting vitamin E from our nuts and seeds. So by eating these diverse foods, as Dr. Scheuer outlined for us, eating the legumes and the whole grains and the vegetables and the fruits and the nuts and seeds, we are making sure to get a symphony of all these nutrients. And the benefits that we've learned recently is that not only is it complete in protein, but the people who are eating animal protein are actually getting too much. And it's almost like a toxicity. There's higher mortality in people eating animal protein. There's higher incidence of diabetes and heart disease and all-cause mortality and autoimmunity because it's overdoing the protein for them. And so when you get it from plant sources, it's a safer form for people, and you're actually able to reverse those very same diseases, still stay protein adequate, and be strong and healthy and age well. But we do have to pay attention to make sure people are getting sources of the plant protein. So that's what I like to help work with people to make sure they're getting enough calcium, that they're building their diet healthy, that they're getting enough protein. And then, yes, it's complete in all of those. But there's one that we do have to pay a little extra attention to, and that's vitamin B12. Unless you're eating fortified foods, such as nutritional yeast or fortified cereals, things like that, maybe a fortified nut milk. But if you're not eating fortified foods like that, B12 is from a bacteria in the ground, and animals eat it, and so you'll get it from animal foods. But for those of us not eating animal foods, we have to usually supplement from it or make sure we're eating a fortified source and check a level to make sure it's okay, because B12 is essential for your nervous system, for making red blood cells, and you don't want to be deficient in that. So we do pay attention to that one nutrient.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Going back off of protein, Dr. Niki, we'll turn it back to you. We hear a lot about this topic in terms of protein sources and how is a plant-based or vegan, where is the protein? Basically, where is the beef, quote unquote? So, can you help us, identify some sources of plant-based protein that's, essential?
Yeah, so I always like to break it down to the basics. So what is protein? Protein is just made out of amino acids. You have 20 amino acids that you need. 9 of them are essential, meaning you need to get them in your diet. All living things contain amino acids, contain protein. So that includes all plants. And all plants have all 9 essential amino acids, although in varying amounts. So it used to be that we said, well, you need to make sure that when you're eating, you need to have a complete protein. So, you know, I remember hearing people say, well, you need to eat eggs because that's a complete protein. You can't get a complete protein by just eating plants. But that's not true. You do get all the essential amino acids that you need, just in varying levels. So as long as your diet is varied, you're going to be getting all of those essential amino acids that can be then used to make the proteins for your body. And Dr. Miller was just talking about how we need not very much protein. In fact, the World Health Organization says that we only need 5% of our calories to come from protein, much smaller amount than what most people are getting. And if you just look at some of the typical foods, like rice and potatoes, both have 8%. So you're well over that 5% mark. Beans, we always talk about beans as an excellent source of protein, 27%. So you're getting plenty of protein. So by mixing in some of those higher protein foods like beans with other foods that might not have as much protein, you're getting plenty of protein. And if we look, and we've looked into women's breast milk to see, well, how much protein is in that? Because you're looking at a baby that needs to basically double in size within the first year or two, and it's 5%. So even our World Health Organization, for an adult person who isn't doubling in size, well, hopefully not over a year or two, and it's the same amount, it's 5%. So it's very likely that we even need less than that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super important because, you know, I think as a country, we're just super protein obsessed. And I don't think we have any problems with being deficient in protein. So Dr. Fontaine, I'm going to switch it over to you. So you know, we have a lot of females watching, right? And, you know, some would ask, and you're a specialist in women's health, you know, what do I need to pay attention to? You know, if I'm transitioning to becoming more vegan, more plant-based, more vegetarian fare, is there certain things that I need to pay attention to?
Well, I think the first thing that you said is, you know, I had the chance to practice many, many years with only female as an OBGYN. And during that time, I have seen an evolution in what was going on and happening with my patient. They tend to obviously come back to you and unfortunately gaining some weight, which for them is the most important thing. So they want a quick fix on the weight, which often is not done the best way. And the impact of eating the typical American diet is usually that it will increase the fat, but the bad fat that creates inflammation. And for us women, increase, and I'll do it very simply, the hormones that we all know will increase substantially the estrogen, which will have a huge impact on potentially infertility and what we call polycystic ovarian syndrome. But probably the most important one is the menopause. Menopause, once you've been exposed to a very high level of estrogen that comes with a regular typical diet, when the ovaries stop functioning, then that drop of estrogen creates this huge symptoms, and usually probably the biggest one is the hot flashes with all the other symptoms. And we know that in population in Asia that in the past, not anymore as much today, that are eating more of a plant food-based diet, they're not having as many symptoms of hot flashes. It's changing now because there's a huge evolution in what they're eating, but it has a huge impact. And so therefore, having the chance to help them, helping my patient, helping the women to move from a typical American diet to a more whole plant food-based diet, help us to decrease the fat, the inflammation, the estrogen, and less symptoms, and more chance, at least for the younger patient, for fertility, and decrease risk of other disease like polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm sure that's, you know, for your female population, it's been very helpful to kind of clarify that, because I don't think a lot of people know that. Dr. Jeffrey Pierce, we're going to switch gears a little bit. So if someone is navigating in a supermarket, right, this is the, you know, and I guess it depends on the supermarket, but tell us a lot of people don't know that it could be a beast, right? It could be a beast in terms of how does one navigate, a supermarket. But do you have any tips of the trade or tricks in terms of how you navigate a supermarket?
Sure. So, I think one thing that's important to remind ourselves is that supermarkets, they're businesses, right? Their main goal is to keep the doors open, make some money. Their main goal is not really to keep us healthy. And, I think if, when you know that as you're in the checkout line, and what you have right in front of you for those last minute purchases before you pay are, candies, chocolates, and the National Enquirer. And, if it was something built to keep us healthy, the last minute items would be, fresh blueberries, kale, and, Dr. Klaper's book and your book, for example, right there at the checkout line. So, just as a reminder, as you walk in, you have to kind of be savvy to their tricks, right? Their tricks of having the big sellers, which are the foods that are typically high in calories, high in fat, high in salt and sugar and oil. And those are the ones that they're going to be most prominent, right? So the big displays when you first walk in for Cinco de Mayo with all the chips and the tequila, you should probably walk past those when you're sticking to a whole food plant-based diet. And the key, there are a couple keys that I keep in mind. One is you get the most healthy bang for your buck in the produce aisle. This was the section that when I was a kid, I was like, I don't want to go there. I'm going to go straight to the breakfast cereal / toys in the bottom of the box area. But that's not the place that you should be spending the most of your time, right? It's full of all of these things that you can eat as much as you want to in the produce section, right? You can eat all the fruit that you want, all the vegetables that you want, because they are low in calories, they're high in nutrients. And so that's where you should spend the most of your time, the most of your money getting that stuff. Now, I'm a proponent of growing your own foods because you can pick them as you're ready for them. So you probably don't want to buy 3 shopping carts full of, romaine lettuce because that's probably going to go bad by the second week. But you want to get most of your things from there. Secondly, I'm a big fan of the bulk section, but the bulk section's got some caveats. While the produce section, the only thing, you'll get some stuff that's packaged, but it'll be sort of like pre-washed, pre-cut salads. And while, yes, it comes in a plastic bag, if it cuts down time for you, making it more likely that you're going to use it, it's probably worth it to get something in a bag like that. The bulk section is a little trickier, right? Because right next to the pinto beans, beans in general being one of the healthiest foods that you can get your hands on that are associated with these groups of people all over the world that live the healthiest and the longest. And, right next to that might be a bulk bucket of, gobstoppers or something. And so you do have to have some special choice when you are selecting what you're going to get in the bulk section. But, this is where you get your beans and your whole grains, your lentils, your chickpeas, your split peas, your nuts, preferably the unroasted, unsalted, because, while you hear that a couple handfuls of almonds are good for you, the ones that are caramelized and roasted and salted, those aren't included. You got to leave those there. There are natural aisles that, everything looks really healthy and their packages have, pictures of plants on it and people meditating and stuff like that. So, be careful with those too, because if it's coming in a package, then it could still also have lots of oil and salt and sugar added to it. So, you do have to be careful with that section as well. The spice section is a real cool place to spend a little bit of time, right? Because, probably Chef Doc Colin here knows better than all of us as chefs. This is a key to making your food not only flavorful to the point of where you're like, man, I don't need to put a teaspoon of salt in my food because it's so rich with smoked paprika and some cumin and all these other flavors that are just going to make it really tasty. But these spices are loaded with antioxidants and are some of the most nutriently packed foods that you can get, right? So there's the benefit of getting to know the spice section, and it's more than just salt and pepper out there, right? And I was the salt and pepper kind of guy as my spice section, but now I know the local spice store that's down the road, and you know, the biggest complaint is my wife when she opens up the cabinet and like the garlic spice falls on her head because we've got too many spices packed in there, right? So pack your cart with those spices, and you're not gonna regret it. A phrase that I'll take from Chef AJ, a friend of ours, and a great resource for everybody on internet, and her book Unprocessed, is if it's in your house, it's in your mouth. And so you know, there's not a lot of success in us relying on our willpower when it comes to what are we going to have for dessert. And if it's all based on willpower, we're going to often lose in the battle between, you know, peaches versus peach cobbler. And so if you have that fresh bowl of fruit on your table ready to go that you bought, it's going to outwin the Oreos, because you're going to have to, you know, get some shoes on, get your keys, if you can find them, get in the car, drive out there and buy the Oreos if you hadn't bought them when you were at the grocery store last time. So that is a good one, is just to keep them out of the house. And that's part of the reason why I don't shop, where I don't recommend always shopping with your kids, because it's easier to tell them, you know, we're out of those of your favorite cookies right now, as compared to, but you know, Papa, they're right there in front of us. Let's just grab a couple of bags and take them home, right? So I guess that's another one to keep in mind. And then you can just skip the meat section, the dairy section, all that stuff, because you're going to be getting your calories and your nutrition from all the other sections.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like we can talk about the supermarket by itself all day long. Dr. Klaper, you know, a lot of us, you know, we're more sequestered, you know, being in the pandemic. But, you know, before the pandemic, I'm sure, you know, a lot of us really enjoy a night on the town, right? And what have you developed in terms of tips and tricks in terms of the restaurant fare? You know, maybe like how to navigate, you know, a menu when, you know, just so much verbiage and, you know, so many attractive words that come to, you know, your face as you open up, you know, a pamphlet or, you know, that menu. But do you have any tips and tricks in terms of the restaurant?
Oh boy, again, we could spend an hour just on this. Restaurant food, delicious, Asian, Mexican, Oriental, all sorts of wonderful foods. But the reality is, from the physician's point of view, what makes those foods taste so good is that they're usually full of salt, sugar, and oil, or any or all of those ingredients. And those can have some very detrimental health effects. And it's a difficult minefield to walk through. When people ask me to go out to eat, I think, well, do I want Mexican salt, sugar, and fat? How about Asian salt, sugar, and fat? Ooh, I haven't had Thai salt, sugar, and fat in a while. It's full of salt, sugar, and fat. That's what restaurant food is. And you really want to minimize the damage. I hate to be a Debbie Downer here, but the truth is that if you order all your old favorite foods there, you're after an hour after you leave, you're going to be very sorry you ate that meal. And it's usually because of all the salt and the sugar and the fat. And you don't really you're not even aware of it. The salt is already in the spaghetti sauce. You don't even really taste it. The sugar, it's already in the ketchup or whatever sauces around there. And so you really want to minimize this damage. You want to get as close to a whole food meal as you can, and it's almost antithetical to what really restaurant food is about. So how do you maximize the pleasure and minimize the damage to your body? First of all, when I'm going to meet my friends for dinner, I realized I'm mainly going there to be with my friends and have a positive experience with them, not shove a bunch of unhealthy food into my mouth. And so if the social interaction is most important, I want to tone down the gorging of the food. So one thing I do before I go out to eat is I eat. I'll have an apple, I'll have a bowl of soup that's left over in the fridge, I'll finish off yesterday's salad. So I don't walk into the restaurant famished and polish off 3 baskets of bread before the wait person gets there to take my order. So it's okay to damp down your appetite a bit with a little pre-eating there. It's actually a smart thing to do. Then have a look at especially if you're going into an ethnic restaurant. If you look at the menu, most of these traditions have a long history of serving plant-based foods. And if you just look, you can always get something on the salad section. Fortunately, the entire plant-based movement, the vegan movement, has had its influence over the past 20, 30 years that I've witnessed. And now every restaurant, usually if you look through the menu, there's at least one section of vegetarian entrees there. So head over there, see what's available. But don't neglect the side dishes. You can always get a plate of steamed vegetables. There's often mushrooms in some form. There's a salad there. You can ask for a no-oil dressing. It's okay, actually, just a little bit, to bring your own no-oil dressing. You can make up a no-oil salad dressing and pour it a little bit into a plastic container with a screw top and bring it in. And when they bring it, say, hold the dressing, and when it comes, open up your little container dressing, pour your own dressing on, and they won't throw you out. So you can do things to minimize the oiliness of the foods. And when you give your order, you can tell the wait person, can you have the chef use either no oil, just stir fry my veggies in vegetable broth, or if they have to use oil, just the minimal amount possible. And they're hearing that request more and more these days. The wait person won't get too upset if you ask about that. So you can ask in the Italian restaurant, you order a salad, a pasta, maybe a bowl of minestrone soup. Yes, it's all full of salt. That's true, but you're in a restaurant. You're going to be eating some salt, sugar, and fat. Finally, the last 2 points. One, you're in a restaurant with your friends. That's true, but ultimately, your arteries don't care. Your liver doesn't care. Yeah, it just wants to know what's that food stream that's going to be flushing through all your tissues. And if you've got high blood pressure, you've got lupus, you've got colitis, it does matter. Your body is not impressed with excuses. And so remember, it's nobody else's business what you order for dinner or order for lunch. You order what you know is best for your health. If God forbid you get a heart attack or a stroke, it's only you in that hospital bed. It's not the people out to dinner with you, it's you. So, to thine own arteries be true, thine own health be true. And second, you take yourself off center stage. You don't have to be the one that says, "Oh, I'm vegan. Make sure there's no eggs in the noodles for me." I do the opposite. I wait till everybody's given their order. No, take her order. That's fine. And when everybody's given their order, I catch the wait person's eye. Come over here. Come over here. And then I ask them to get their head down right here. And I whisper in their ear. I look at the menu. That looks really good. Can the chef make that but hold the chicken? Oh, yeah, we can do that. Good. Can they make that but hold the cheese? Oh, yeah, we can do that. Thank you. Close the menu. No one heard a thing. And you just engage in conversation. When the food comes out, everybody else has their various pieces of animals on the plate there. And you've got this gorgeous, or I have, this gorgeous plate of colorful vegetables and stir-fried quinoa or whatever. And people, oh, look, oh, wow, that looks delicious. I wish I ordered that. Can I take some of that? And you can make the restaurant experience.
You probably get that a lot.
I do. A lot less damaging there. So, and it's an education for the other people. But ultimately, again, they're not paying my medical bills. And if you do it for a while, you get to know how to handle each of the ethnicities in the various restaurants there. So take control. Don't let it be a toxic experience for you. Look for the healthiest plant-based entrees and side dishes you can find. And And you're there to be with your friends. Have a great time with your friends, and your example will be a good lesson for them as well.
Thank you so much. That's really good. I like the part where you said, they're not paying for your, medical bills. That's super key. Dr. Fontaine, I'm going to switch it over to you. A lot of us, are busy working professionals, living a very hectic life, and so a lot of things, ideally need to be prepared on the go. So, do you have any tips and tricks for on the go? For those that are working professionals or just running a lot of errands, due to this chaotic, lifestyle that we have currently?
Yeah, I think it's such an important topic you're asking. I think the biggest thing on that is got to be ready. You got to prepare some of your preferred snack. And I think on that, it'd be nice to have one suggestion of each one of us what they prefer. But what I like to prepare myself as much as I can is as much fruit cut ready and vegetable, so that I have that in a little bag and I have it for the day whenever I need to have something. And some of my preferred snack when I'm home, when I get quick, is chickpeas that I cook into the oven with some nutritional yeast, or kale for the chips. So some of the easy thing that you can put in a bag and bring to work. So you need to have some prepare. It's always the same. As a plant food-based individual, you need to eat a lot. And if you don't have any snack ready anytime, you're in trouble. And that's often what would be my problem, especially being on call as an OBGYN. For God's sake, if you don't bring food, there's nothing. In those days at the hospital, there would be anything that would be very good. Also in the biking, I like to bring dates and prepare my own granola bar. So it's nice to have those little snacks ready when you have a little bit of a hunger in the ride.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's super important. And I like the fact that a lot of us, lead a very physical lifestyle. So, and a lot of us, watching our athletes as well. So it's super important to constantly, fill up on that. So we're going to switch it back over to Jeff, Dr. Jeffrey Pierce. So a lot of us, are thinking, you just talked a lot about, the supermarket. And one of the common questions people get is, is whole food plant-based expensive, right? Because they equate, well, I can't even, afford a head of broccoli, a liter or 2 liters of Coke is, cheaper, as I guess mind-blowing and mind-boggling, as it is. How can you address, is whole food plant-based expensive to those that are wondering?
Yeah. Cool. And so I definitely want to talk about the traditional answer to this is about, what to buy, what to shop so that you save money. But I think it's always important to take into account the global picture of costs. And by eating this way, even if it was 5 times more expensive than eating the way that a standard American diet would be and would cost, think about the money you're saving on your medical bills. Right, the average person in the United States pays about $1,400 a year on their medications, and that's average, right? That's not including several of us that are struggling with diabetes and hypertension and heart disease and stroke and all of that put in together, and the costs are going to be a lot higher than that. So, take into account like how much these other medical costs and disability costs. And there's absolutely, no comparison. But just on a simple answer of comparing it to, so how can you eat this way and it be affordable? It's the basic whole foods are quite some of the most affordable foods out there, right? So bulk beans and rice and corn. And these foods that are potatoes, that are our staples, that have kept groups of people alive and healthy over the millennia, they're really inexpensive. You don't want to go out and buy some, the fancy prepackaged stuff if you're on a budget. Buy the ingredients, make it at your house. And so when you buy your stuff, meal prep, get it all done so that you're not having to, I don't have anything ready, and so I got to go out and pick something up for tonight or order it for them to deliver it at home, because you've got all this food at your house that you've already bought ahead of time and did some meal prepping on. stick to the grocery list when you're at the grocery store. Go to the grocery store full, not hungry, check out some good resources online. I would say Toni Okamoto, who has Plant-Based on a Budget, is a great resource. You can just look her up on YouTube. PCRM, the Physicians Committee, has a great little Vegan on a Budget video that you can take a look at. And so lots of good resources out there to make this very affordable, and you can do it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Pierce. Just want to put in a couple of comments. Gina, she says, I'm so thrilled about this platform. You are all doing such important work. So thank you, Gina. From Facebook, we have Chef Colin Godin. He says, thank you for all the work you do. Much love to all you guys. Jenny Mathall, great work. So those are some comments coming from the interwebs. And so Dr. Kim, one of the hot topics sometimes we think about is soy, right? So can you just give us the pretty much the final closer in terms of, is soy bad for us? Does it cause cancer? Like, what is up with that?
So that's a huge thing. And I studied it a lot because one of the reasons I did this was to try and prevent breast cancer myself. Soy is a phytoestrogen. It is not an estrogen. Everybody thinks, oh, it's an estrogen. It's going to give you man boobs or this and that. No, soy is a phytoestrogen. So it actually is pro-estrogenic when it needs to be and anti-estrogenic when it needs to be. And there's tons of research out there that show that, and including last year, soy decreases breast cancer. And if you have breast cancer, if you eat soy, it decreases your risk of dying from breast cancer. It decreases prostate cancer. It has been shown to decrease heart disease. If you change one meal from a meat-based thing to a soy-based thing, your risk of heart disease goes down like 14 to 18%. It decreases, they're now seeing that it may help decrease Alzheimer's and dementia. There's so many reasons that the soy is good for you. Eat soy. Thousands and thousands of Japanese people eat soy, and they don't have the breast cancer that we have. So it's a very, very, very good thing to have.
Awesome. Thank you so much. One of the questions we get typically is the kitchen, and I can pretty much answer that really quickly. Is start off, no matter what your level is, start off with a good chef or French knife, a good cutting board, a spatula, a pot, and a saucepan, and just start right there. And the multitude of different recipes that you could create and all the different foods that we've all shared on, so far in this episode, you're going to make so many great things. And we definitely have more resources in terms of, how to up-level your fridge, your freezer, and your pantry. So you definitely have to, reach out to us, further about that. Last but not least, we're going to turn it over to Anthony. We're going to close this out, and I thank you everyone for your patience, for those that are speaking and for those that are listening. So Anthony, what is the overall long-term, goal, of this platform, and what do you hope to achieve?
So in the near term, we really want to just continue to raise awareness and make sure that people know that you all are here and ready to see them. I mean, I know you guys, and I'm so proud to be working with you all, that it kind of shocks me when I see empty spaces on your calendars. I don't know what's happening, but I just, the only thing I can attribute that to is that people aren't quite aware yet. So we want to continue to raise awareness, have people tell their friends, and just really share this. And we realize that everyone is not ill, everyone doesn't need medical care, but we just want to make sure that the people who do know that we're out there. And then going off long term, we have a lot of opportunities that are going to open up. We are going to be in a position, and Laurie touched on this early on, to really influence the way healthcare is practiced. When we can collect outcomes from thousands of people and we can show that people are really getting well, and by extension that we're really reducing the burden on the healthcare system by helping people to prevent disease, sometimes reverse disease, or at least improve their health outcomes, people who are living with disease, then we're going to have an opportunity to collect all this information together and present it into a way that hopefully the insurance companies will start to listen, the The self-insured companies will start to listen. And really, what I'm most passionate about is the general public, will start to realize that this really is, a viable option for taking better care of ourselves.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think that actually answers this person that wrote in, Trisha. She says, do you know how do most people hear about your service, either by doing a Google search or advertising on certain platforms? And, I think we're utilizing, paid advertisements right now, right? And then we are going to, get more resources in terms of expanding that, right?
Yeah, it's true. So really, it's a combination, and it kind of tickles me. Every time someone calls, I get to ask them, "Oh, how did you hear about us?" Sometimes it's from a friend, sometimes it's from another doctor's office that they reached out to, and this office doesn't have a physician who's licensed to see them where they are, or the office is not doing telemedicine; they're not able to get there physically, so people are recommending us, and that really means a ton to me. The others are our friends out there who have complementary services like Chef AJ, like the Mastering Diabetes guys. I mean, as people are reversing their diabetes on the Mastering Diabetes program, they require changes in their medications and they require medical supervision to do that. So we're really a good match. And it's what I love about this service is that it's not necessarily competitive with all of our, community out there. It's really a complementary service that benefits us all. And then you're right, we are trying to work on becoming more discoverable on the search platforms like Google, and making sure that people are finding us when they're searching for plant-based doctors. And we are doing Facebook advertising, and right now we're really doing that. We're targeting people in the whole food plant-based space or in the vegan space, because even people who are vegan for other important reasons, like animal compassion and for our environment, it's really fantastic. I've heard feedback from several patients for them to have a doctor who understands their lifestyle and it isn't going to tell them that they need to be going and finding milk for calcium or meat for protein, right? So we're reaching into these communities first to raise awareness, but then what we're going to do when we feel like people know that we exist within our community, then we're going to really target the disease areas. We're going to go after people with hypertension, and try to figure out how to let them know that we're here and that there's another way to treat their medical conditions. The diabetics, people with high cholesterol, even obesity, people who are out there who have these illnesses. I know firsthand from being on the other side, being a patient of in the traditional medical world, I had, growing up my whole life, I had overweight doctors telling me that I needed to lose weight. And it's hard, but coming to a place where people who understand the lifestyle has an impact, and they're not just waiting until my cholesterol tips 210 so that they can prescribe me medication. They're catching it at it when it's at 170 or 180 and saying, hey, do you know that if we get this down, we can work together and we can get this down, below 150 or so. And that essentially, dramatically reduces your risk of ever having, a cardiac issue, right? So it's really focusing on that wellness. So we just want to let people know that we're here, and then we want to collect this information.
Definitely.
Yeah, to share it with others.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I definitely greatly value your, time, expertise, wisdom, and experience. We're going to close out. Just want to see if anyone had any closing thoughts. But we did want to mention that some of us, do speak a second language. We have someone that does American Sign Language. We have Spanish speakers, French speakers, and Chinese as well. So, let us know how we can help you. I believe we're on a lot of the social media platforms, right, Anthony? But mainly our main website is plant-based telehealth.com. And, thank you so much for all the docs, for coming on and sharing their wealth of experience with us. And if there's no closing thoughts, thank you again. You guys are amazing. Guys, I hope you guys learned something from today's session of Whole Food Plant-Based 101 from the Plant-Based Telehealth team. And we will see you, virtually, hopefully in person, across the board through a Zoom visit. So definitely reach out to us. And thank you again so much for watching. And please say goodbye, wave goodbye.
Bye. Thank you, Dr. Zhu. This was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you so much, guys. And thank you guys. We will see you next week for another episode at 5 p.m. Pacific next Wednesday. And until then, thank you, and definitely thrive on, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.